Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a bunch of testing with the Silverado EV RST Max range. That's right, this is the big battery pack. First, let's take it to a CCS charging station to see how much energy and highway range we can add in 15 minutes. Then also I want to take it to a Tesla Supercharger station with an adapter and see how much energy and range we can get there, because superchargers are everywhere and they're opening up to other brands. I think if you buy this truck, realistically, you're going to come across a lot of superchargers. Finally, this is a truck. Let's do some truck stuff. I want to measure consumption while towing a U-Haul trailer on the highway and use that to give you an estimate for highway range while towing a trailer. Sounds fun? Let's get into it. So here we are, CCS 350 kilowatts. Oh, we got one of these plugs. Can I do this one-handed? Here we go. Now let's activate. It's doing the handshake. Here we go, speeds are ramping up. We plugged in at 11%, 150. All right, now after a failed attempt to get full speed on this charger, we're gonna switch over to the stall over here where somebody was just getting over 200 kilowatts. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Unfortunately, we're at 12%, so this is going to be starting and ending at 12%, but I still think with a battery as big as this, it's not going to make much of a difference. Let's try to plug in. All right, plugged in, Silverado EV, spinning up the fans, initializing connection. There's usually a lengthy handshake time to get this going on CCS cars. So we're preconditioned and starting at 12%, not 10%. And let's see what kind of speeds we get here on this charger. Already ramping up. We're already doing better than last time. There we go, here we go, here we go. 200, climbing. 15%, we're still only at 200 kilowatts. This is not the charging session that I was after. It is so hard to find capable infrastructure. I have a backup plan, another location just a couple of kilometers away from here. Let's go. Well guys, you joined me late at night at a Electrify Canada station here in Barrie, north of Toronto. And I had to make it here from pretty far away to find a 350 kilowatt capable charger. This is actually my backup plan because this is my second attempt, because tonight I tried to go to a Petro-Canada 350, didn't work, card reader didn't work, and then when I finally activated it only gave me 200 kilowatts. Disappointed. So I came here with just about 12% state of charge, not 10, but I think close enough. It's completely unoccupied. I want to get full power at this Electrify Canada 350 station. Here we go, payment approved, authorized, initiating charge, fans are spinning up. I heard a click here. Here we go, ramping up already. 189, 195, 196. That's it. I need more than that. So we came here with just 12% state of charge. Speeds are ramping. Preconditioned, did everything right. Give me fast charging. Well guys, I'm kind of disappointed here. This is a nice charging station from Electrify Canada. It's got like solar canopies, well lit at night. I came here to get a good charging session and I'm let down by infrastructure. This is my second attempt tonight to go to a charging station that can give me full power for this truck. And the best I'm getting right now is about 200 kilowatts, which is still like pretty amazing if we can keep that curve flat. I don't think this session is going to be a test of the truck's full capabilities. It's more of a test of the infrastructure's capabilities. Do you guys like these lights on a Silverado when it's charging? That's pretty cool. What's not cool is this charging station limiting power. What are we at now? 7 minutes into the test, still 205 kilowatts. Disappointing. How good does this truck look, especially in the habanero orange paintwork? It's pretty cool with the 24-inch wheels. I like it. Now it's in its lowered air suspension setting. It's kind of riding pretty low to the ground. Still very tall though. How is our charging session going? 8 minutes, we reached 24%. Unfortunately, still only 206 kilowatts. I think maybe we're amperage limited. That's disappointing. Where's my 350? So here on the inside, while we're charging, we could see state of charge on the left, and very helpful, we have our charging speed, 207 kilowatts on the right. It almost looks like you're regenning 207 kilowatts. That's pretty funny, but I like that. And to be clear, I know sometimes some GM vehicles are throttling charging when they overheat because of climate control settings, but today is not the case because it's only 19 degrees Celsius today, and I'm not even running any climate settings here to give it the best possible chance of success. But this is not this truck's fault. This truck is amazing. We're having infrastructure problems where I went to 2 different 350 charging stations. I'm not getting 350 at either one. Again, this charging station is very expensive, 70 cents per kilowatt hour, and they didn't even give us our full promised 350 kilowatts. A little bit disappointed here with Electrify Canada. Come on guys, do better. But okay, let's unplug and see how far we could travel on our energy. All right, let's reset our trip computer, hit the highway, and see how far we can go at 120. So we're 36% state of charge, again after a not so ideal charging session here. I have just reset trip number 2 on this in the screen here, so we're at 0 kilometers. We're gonna hit the highway, which is just around the corner, drive at 120. I checked that GPS 120 is the same as speedometer 120. So we here gained just about 24% in 15 minutes. We started at 12. So that means we're gonna drive until we deplete 12%. So we're gonna end up at 24, and that'll be our turnaround point to come back here. Hey guys, you joined me on the highway. We are 30 kilometers into our trip, and Super Cruise is on right now, and it's doing an automated lane change. Very cool. I like how it has lane discipline, so it makes a pass and then gets over to the right by itself. I think this is very good behavior. Super Cruise has been really nice, really smooth. It's centered in its lane. It's not doing anything aggressive. It's not doing anything dangerous. I'm really enjoying my time here in the Silverado EV. I think it is really good at covering long distance on the highway. Right now, we've covered 32 kilometers. We're at 31% state of charge. We're going to continue until about 24% state of charge, and then we're going to turn around and go back to counteract any elevation changes. I think Chevy did a really good job on the headlights on this Silverado EV, because I'm on a really dark highway right now, and I have really good beam spread both directions, left and right. I can see really far ahead, and I don't appear to be blinding anyone. Nobody's flashing me, so really good Chevy on the headlights. We just hit 12% over here as we hit some construction right now. 156, almost 157 kilometers, and 2.9 kilometers per kilowatt hour is the final result. Hey guys, so my CCS charging experiment is a little bit of a fail. It didn't go to plan, but maybe this is just the real world conditions with infrastructure in this area. I tried my best to find 350s CCS charging stations in this area, and I ended up going north of the city towards Barrie, where there were 2 that were really close together, so I would have a backup. And again, the best I could get is like a 205, 206. Really cool that it held that pretty much flat the entire 15 minutes, but I did not get the energy that I wanted. That 15-minute session gave me something like 52 kilowatt hours, which was good for 156 kilometers of highway range, driven at 120 kilometers per hour, which is still a very respectable result. This matches what I got with my Model Y, which is a much smaller car. But I think I could salvage this experiment and look at what other people got in the most optimal charging session for this truck and this battery. And Out of Spec have done a test a few weeks ago with another Silverado where they had 75 kilowatt hours delivered in 15 minutes at a CCS charging station. And if I kind of use the base of my 52 kilowatt hours and multiply out 75 kilowatt hours at the same proportions, that should be something like 230 kilometers of highway range added in 15 minutes. Now that would be an incredible result if you could find the right charger. There you go. I kind of have my real world number that I got, and then I have an estimated optimal conditions number that you could get with this truck at 120 kilometers per hour and 15-minute charging. So let's go next to the supercharger station and see how that performs. Just pulled up to a Tesla V4 supercharger station. I think this is going to be important information if you're considering this truck. You could see the reflection in my glasses. We're just across from the chargers. We're going to plug in for 15 minutes and see how much energy and range we can add to this truck. This is the Silverado EV big battery pack. So these chargers are of course NACS connectors. I have my adapter with me. We pulled up here with 23% state of charge, which you might think is not low enough to get a good peak. But honestly, these V4 superchargers, both V3 and V4s, these are still only 400 volt architecture. So this means for this truck to hit its maximum 350 peak, you actually need to have 800 volt or high voltage chargers. So I'm guessing we're going to be somewhere in the under 200 kilowatt range for the whole session. We'll see what happens. But I think this is a very important test because superchargers are opening up to other brands. I actually see a Ford Lightning over here pulling up the charge too. So let's join the party, see how much range we could get at a Tesla supercharger. So what's good about the Silverado EV, of course, is that the charge port is in the same position as Tesla's, so you could just back into a charging spot and you're not really blocking any spaces. So I'm going to plug in my adapter here first, and we're at 5A. I love the longer cables on the V4 superchargers. This is so much easier to do one-handed. Alright, so I'm gonna activate on the app and start the timer. Here we go. I just started charging a few seconds ago. I started the timer at the same time as we started charging. So 30 seconds in, we're getting 174 kilowatts here in the Silverado EV, 24% state of charge. So let's see how this curve goes throughout the session and how much energy we can get. So then we can calculate how much range we could potentially get at a Tesla supercharger. There's that Lightning over there charging too, pretty sweet. I put the ride height in the maximum setting to tower over all these Teslas. Let's monitor this session. So at just over 4 minutes, our charging speed is climbing to 178 kilowatts, and that's pretty cool. And we're at 29% state of charge. So I'm guessing what's happening here is that the charging session is limited to 500 amps and around like 300, high 300 volts. So what's happening is as the voltage climbs in the battery pack throughout the session, we're gonna see more kilowatts. So I'm expecting a pretty flat session throughout the entire 15 minutes without derating. I'm monitoring this session also on the Tesla app. I could put a screenshot of what that looks like. And in the Tesla app is also where you stop the charging session. There's a button there. I don't think you just want to pull on the cord and disconnect it. You want to do it safely. This is also going to be quite an expensive session here because I think it's like 76 cents per kilowatt hour for non-Teslas or non-members. If you're going to do this regularly, you can get a membership from Tesla to have reduced rates. I think in Canada, the membership costs something like $16.99 or something, plus tax a month. So if you charge frequently, then that's the way to go. These here, of course, are the V3.5 cabinets. So these are still 400 volts. True V4 cabinets are coming to the Supercharger network pretty soon, and that's going to unlock high voltage charging. So then the Silverado can actually take advantage of those peak speeds. There's a pretty sweet Ford Lightning here as well. We're just at around a minute and a half away from finishing this charging session. Let's see where the speeds are now. And there's that ding. Oh, that's unexpected. We actually derated to 143 kilowatts. I mean, there's a lot of headroom here because we're at only 40% state of charge. We should be charging way faster. I don't think this is a site limitation because there are 20 V4 stalls over here and there's not even that many cars. So at exactly 15 minutes, I stopped the charging session from the app and I moved the truck. And the final score was 42 kilowatt hours delivered to the truck from the supercharger. We were actually chugging along very nicely at around 180, 190 kilowatts until I think somewhere around 12 minutes into the session, we got derated to 140. And this is no fault of the truck. The truck could do way more than that. In this case, I think it was the supercharger that derated the session. It could be a couple of reasons. It could be that the cable got too hot. It is very sunny today, but honestly, I think I've held power for longer on Teslas, so I don't think it was the cable in this case. I do know that Tesla is known to sometimes throttle charging sessions for non-Teslas when they think an adapter is being used for an additional safety margin. So I think that's what happened. It's just the way it is. So then here we got 42 kilowatt hours. In our imperfect CCS charging session the other night, we had 52 kilowatt hours, and that was good for 156 kilometers of highway driving at 120. If we apply kind of the same formula and efficiency figures, our 42 kilowatt hours delivered here would be good for 126 kilometers of highway driving. So less, but still pretty good. I think if you're just relying on superchargers, you're going to be charging for a bit longer until they can get high power 800 volt charging where you can really rip into the higher kilowatts. So that was my experience for a 15-minute charging session, the Silverado EV at a V4 supercharger. So we just connected a trailer, which you could see here, and the truck recognized the trailer. We went into trailer mode right away. Pretty sweet, no issues found. And even the range estimate over here adjusted from like 400 something to 250 kilometers, which is pretty sweet. And then if I have my digital mirror, you could see that I can see some of my blind spots, which is good. Yeah, cool. Let's do a full inspection, tire pressures, and hit the road. Traffic is acceptable. But merging is going to be an adventure. Why is there a person walking on the highway?
Where? Oh, I'm not on the highway.
But still, they shouldn't. This student is lost. So what we're going to do is reset our trip computer. And we're going to get up to... We're going to take it easy. We're going to go 100 because I'm not the most experienced towing driver. And also these U-Haul trailers are, they don't have electric brakes. They just have the normal like pressure plate friction brakes. But honestly, right now we're going 100 with a 6 foot wide by 12 foot long trailer. People are cutting us off, but we're going to do a little loop just to measure the efficiency of towing with an EV. The trailer right now is empty, admittedly, but as many other people on YouTube have showed, actually EV range suffers not so much because of the weight, but because of the aerodynamic drag and the aero penalty. So that's what really gets you. It essentially, like many EVs have their range cut in half when you're towing. Just because this trailer has 2 axles, so there's a lot more rolling resistance now on this truck. And of course, look at this. This trailer, we could see it both in the digital mirror as well as our rear view camera from the back of the cab. We're definitely, like, it sticks out quite a bit out of the truck, above the truck, behind us, so that's gonna affect our aero pretty significantly, I think. So we're gonna basically do this trip calculation, and then we're just going to calculate our expected range while towing the trailer. Very exciting. Towing impressions, really effortless. I'm only hearing noise from the trailer, and whenever we hit a bump, like it tugs on the truck ever so slightly, but honestly this truck has no problems towing the trailer at all. Oh, what is that? Swerve. Somebody's noodles or something. All right, cool, avoided that. Let's try that again. So here we are towing our U-Haul. I even have Super Cruise working right now. You can see the green light on the steering wheel. So this is Chevy's and GM's driver assistance program. And what this is doing is not only giving us lane centering, but also like a cruise control, which is keeping the gap. So again, really easy, really good to cover distance, even while towing. I think we can honestly go 120 if we wanted to. This truck feels so stable at speed, but we're gonna keep things a bit safe here today. So in my mirror, basically all I see is the U-Haul trailer, but I love how the angle on this digital view mirror, it's a really wide lens. So I do actually see a bit of my blind spot here, which is super helpful. I love this. This truck feels completely unchallenged with this trailer right here. And of course, the problem with EV towing in general, like electric motors are really capable at delivering power and like low-end torque to get you moving. But it's that longevity on the highway where, because the battery don't have nearly as much density as, that's a cool boat, Big John. Electric cars don't have nearly as much energy on board for the endurance. So that's why most EVs have to stop so frequently to recharge while towing. But if you start with a giant battery, like the 205 kilowatt hour battery from GM, the 24 module double stacked battery, I think you still get a lot, like a very decent amount of range. And we're gonna see just how much range at the end of this run here. Well, if you have to recharge while towing, that's another problem, because then you have to unhook the trailer potentially, especially on this truck. The charge port is in the driver's side, right side. So unless you end up at a charging station that has like a pull-through stall, you will have, if you have to back into the spot, you're gonna have to unhook your trailer, which is super annoying, very annoying. And then back in, charge, and then continue, which is gonna take longer. But hopefully, like this truck has a good charging curve. It has a peak of 350 kilowatts with the max range battery. And it holds that curve for a while. Even past 50%, you're still well above 200 kilowatts. And even like in my own charge testing, I could not get a perfect charge session. I basically held 200, 205 flat for the whole session. It's still a lot of energy you're gonna have to charge, but just because you have so much more range, I think it really does help make the case for long distance EV towing. Just effortless pickup on the highway. It's like the trailer's not even there. That's awesome. Of course, I don't want to really risk it. I'm being a responsible driver because it's not my truck, and it's a rental trailer. Like, who knows what condition this is in. So now we're on our return leg of our towing test. So far we're getting 2.6 kilometers per kilowatt hour. Let's see what it's like when we make it to the same point with the same elevation. Testing in progress. Also testing here. We're just finishing up our loop here of our trailer testing. It ended up being 61 kilometers. That's something like 40 miles. And our final efficiency run is 2.4 kilometers per kilowatt hour. We dropped off the trailer and we're back from our day of testing. so 2.4 kilometers per kilowatt hour. And given this truck's amazing capacity of 205 kilowatt hours, usable capacity in this battery pack, that comes out to 492 kilometers of highway range while towing like a medium-sized trailer, 2 axles, 12 feet long, 6 feet wide, 5 feet tall, creating a lot of aerodynamic drag, and we could still travel almost 500 kilometers while towing. That is actually better range than my Model Y could do by itself on the highway. I'm really blown away. This has exceeded all my expectations. I think this is not only a good result for an EV, I think it's a good result for any vehicle. This truck is a good truck. It just happens to be an EV with a lot of tech and capability that you don't get with a gas car. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.